Brittany Wagner really steals the show, and with that, it is a great pleasure to welcome Brittany to Southern Fried Sports here on Tide 102.9 and Tide1029.com. And Brittany, I've got one question to get things going for you after watching those 6 episodes over the weekend. Why do you do what you do?
Why not? Because I don't know. I've always had a passion, I think, for, and I say that, when I'm driving in the car, that I just always had a passion for helping people and making a difference in people's lives. I think that's what fills my tank, so to speak, and what kind of makes me tick. I find myself when the guys aren't here, or when I'm spending too much time just behind my desk doing routine paperwork, that I'm not happy. So it's the players and the relationships and what you saw in the documentary that really keeps me going. I love seeing them, that light bulb go off, that successful moment in the classroom, or just getting, learning a life lesson, and actually watching the light go off in their brain where they realize they can do something that they never thought they could do.
Now in the docuseries, Brittany, you're pretty much portrayed as the team mom of sorts, really. I mean, you're the caregiver, you're the nurturer in a lot of ways for some of these young people who, quite frankly, have never had that in their lives. Is that a fair depiction of you, would you say?
I think so. I mean, I think there's at the beginning, the first team meeting that we usually have, that's kind of how Coach Stevens introduces me to the team. In recruiting, that's kind of how I'm portrayed as, this is going to be your mom away from mom. I mean, I think that's a very fair depiction of what I do. I think that I also have some weak moments, and I don't know that they were shown a lot in the documentary. Somebody was tweeting, and said, does this woman ever snap? I mean, she seems to have it together, and I do. I mean, yeah, of course, every mother has a moment in their home where it's not going their way and they lose their mind for a minute, and I certainly have those moments too. I'm not as patient as I maybe was portrayed all the time. There's certainly difficult situations and difficult moments, and every player isn't as lovable as Ollie, and there's the ups and the downs and the struggles, and you can't save everyone. I mean, there are certainly players that have come here that didn't make it out in the way that we had hoped, and I think that's important to get out there too. Is that it's not perfect. I'm not perfect. The situation isn't perfect. There's certainly a balance, and I'm the mom, but I have my moments.
And I was going to ask you about those moments, because it would seem as if it's not the toughest aspect of your job, it's at the top 3 or 4 in terms of gaining the trust of these guys. And is it really as tough as it appeared to be in the series? And what do you think are the keys in winning that trust from people who, again, probably just have had so many negative events in their lives that they have a hard time giving that to anybody?
Yeah, I think that is definitely one of the hardest things of my job is that, exactly, gaining the trust. I think some of it has taken care of itself over time. I've been here 8 years, and I think some of it it happens in the new players seeing the relationship that I have with the old players. It's in them coming in and looking at my picture wall and seeing, oh, she was close with, Chad Kelly, or she was close with, and seeing all the players that have come through here and kind of realizing, like, okay, she knows what she's doing, or, maybe she can help me too type of mentality. So they kind of give in more easily maybe than they did, 5 years ago when I didn't have a wall of fame in my office. But two, I think a large portion of it, and I'm really glad that they showed a lot of this in the documentary, a large portion of, I think, gaining the trust are those moments where the guys are just hanging out in here and we're not talking academics. Where I'm not drilling them about a paper. I'm not, getting on to them about going to class or asking them if they have a pencil. Where we're talking about rap music or Joy Behar or whatever the conversation that they bring to the table. And me just sitting in here and sometimes not, just listening to them talk to each other or, just them being free to talk to me and not judging them for the conversation that they bring to the table. I mean, just being open to whatever it is that day that they want to talk about. I think that really builds a lot of trust with them as well. Them seeing multiple sides of me. They see me as the mom. They see me as the tough love, go to class, do this, do that. But they also see me as, someone that they can come in here and just talk to about anything, and it's going to be okay. And I say all the time to them, within these four walls of my office, you're safe. You are safe. Conversations in here are safe. They buy into that. They really buy into that they can come in here if they have a moment where they're mad, they can come in here and, yell and scream and punch the wall or whatever they need to do to get it out. And then we're going to work through it. I mean, then we're going to think about how we could respond differently or how we need to fix the situation. But they're allowed to be who they are in this office. And I think that's really, really important, especially in education and in this field, to just meet students where they are, allow them to be themselves and meet them where they are and don't judge them for that.
And I'm guessing there must have been a great sense of being comfortable within those four walls, because it seemed as if guys like Ronald Ali, DJ Law, John Franklin III, they had no problem being very open, even in the presence of a ton of cameras. That's the way it looked on the show, at least, as if you were pretty much on a daily basis accompanied by a camera crew in your office there, and it still didn't seem to slow the communication one bit.
No, it didn't, and I think that's just a credit to how great these guys are. I mean, there was a camera crew here from August to December every day. There was three set crews. One was in my office all the time. So I had a camera crew here every day, all day, for those 4 months. And then one was with Coach Stevens or in the football offices all the time. And then another one was floating. So that's when that camera crew called them in their dorm rooms or in the cafeteria or wherever they were. So, yeah, and I think that, I think some of it was naivety. I don't think you ever forget that the cameras are here. Or I never did. I never forgot that they were here. But I think some of it was just naivety to how big this was going to be and how many people were going to see it. I don't think that the guys really comprehended that Netflix and the audience, the span, of the audience that Netflix serves. I'm not sure the players really grasped that as a whole. And I'm not sure I really did either, to be honest.
What has the last week been like?
Oh my God!
Has it been anything like you imagined, or has it exceeded it?
No, I don't. Yeah, I didn't really have expectations because I didn't really know any better. And Netflix has been fantastic. I mean, they have the people that have worked with us from top to bottom have just been incredible. The way that they've supported us as individuals in the show has been amazing. Greg and his crew and his company has been amazing. So everybody has been so supportive and so amazing. But I don't think that I really had expectations. Someone did tell me Thursday night, we were in Los Angeles last week doing press events all week, and Thursday night before I went to bed in California, the show was airing at 12:01 Pacific time. And the PR person, Kim Parker for Netflix, she said, do me a favor before you go to bed, write down the number of Twitter followers that you have and Instagram followers that you have, because those were the two social media outlets that I was going to open up publicly. My Facebook is going to remain private. So she told me, go and write that down. So I wrote it down thinking, okay, maybe it'll double or something. And I think I had like 180 Twitter followers and 170 Instagram followers, and I'm over 3,500 now on Twitter, and my Facebook is almost at my Instagram is almost at 2,000 now. So just that alone has been overwhelming. My email, I just texted the IT guy a minute ago and asked him if I'd crashed the email server because I couldn't send an email a minute ago, and I was like, okay, something's happening to my email. I had over 200 emails just from fans alone when I got to work yesterday. And if any of those people are listening, I am reading them and I am going through them and I'm trying to respond. It's just going to take me a while to sort through them and get to them. But there's so many people that have emailed with such inspirational stories, and it's amazing to know that, you know, people are watching it and really connecting, not just with me as a person, but just with this work and the job that athletic academic counselors all over the country do. I think that's also important, you know, to put out there that this is a career field, and there are academic counselors all over the country, you know, busting their tail on a daily basis to help student athletes. And just so happens that I'm the one that was on TV, but you know, these people are giving these athletes all they have on a daily basis, and I think that's important too, you know, for everyone to recognize the profession as a whole.
Good stuff. Brittany Wagner, athletic instructional advisor and compliance assistant at East Mississippi Community College and central figure in the outstanding new docuseries Last Chance U. Now, Brittany, we're here in Tuscaloosa. The University of Alabama's had a few guys go through EMCC. Any fond or particular memories maybe of DJ Petway or Jaron Reed or Quentin Dial? Any of those guys?
Of them. I've actually spoken to DJ and Quentin recently. Quentin Dial was one of our earlier players that was here in my early years. His story is amazing. He has a story similar to Ronald Ollie, and amazing story, amazing guy, and what he went through, and what he, you know, how he came out on the other end of it. He's just a remarkable human being. He was fantastic here as a student. He and I really bonded. He used to babysit Kennedy, who's on the show, my daughter.
Really?
When she was a baby, he would babysit, and she thought he was her brother. She would call him Big Q, and I don't think she didn't know, you know, that he wasn't related to us. She thought that he was, and
sure.
I talked to him the other day. I'm actually going to go to a San Francisco 49ers game this fall because I haven't been able to see him play on Sunday yet, so I'm going to get to go do that. I'm extremely excited about that because he's doing such great things. He has a foundation that he started to help kids that are growing up like he did, and he's just a wonderful, wonderful person. And DJ Petway as well. I did a story with an Alabama newspaper, and they were asking me about him. And I have kind of a rule when we get a drop-down player like DJ, a player that's gone to Division I, and then they come to us for whatever reason, academic or discipline, I don't Google them. I don't want to know what happened at the institution that they went to before, because I don't want to go into – I have to relate to them on a different level, and I don't want to have judgment or preconceived notions. So I try really hard. Some players that are more high-profile, you know, like Chad Kelly, that was a little bit harder to do. But with DJ, I had no idea what had happened at Alabama. I just knew that he was here, and, you know, we needed to get him out. And he bucked me a little bit in the beginning, and he would say that. I've talked to him lately, and, you know, he had his moment when he first got here where I don't think he liked me very much, and I annoyed him that I was staying on him, and we kind of had a moment in our defensive coordinator's office where it was kind of what I would call a come to Jesus talk with the three of us, and I think that's where trust was established with DJ in that meeting room. I basically told him this tough guy image that you're putting out right now, it's fake, and we got to get through it, or you're not going to get out of here. I need you to break. And he did that day, and from that moment on, I had DJ Petway and I were tight. That kid would have done anything I asked him to do. He was fabulous, and he's one of my favorite players that have ever come through here. His personality was so great. He was just fun, and worked really hard. He worked really hard in the classroom. He worked really hard on the football field. You know, he didn't walk around here. I don't think he ever wore an Alabama shirt while he was here. You know, he didn't walk around here with his chest puffed out, you know, like he was this big shot player from Alabama. He didn't do that. He was very humble while he was here, and earned his spot back on Alabama's team, and probably had a harder road in earning that spot back and earning Saban's trust and really proving that he was going to come back bigger and better than ever than anybody. And he did that, and I was so proud of him. I was at the Alabama-Ole Miss game last year. We had 7 players playing in that game that had come through here, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go to that game. And even though it didn't turn out in their favor at that moment, still to be there and to see DJ and Jaron and be in that environment and just enjoy that moment was amazing.
Good stuff. Brittany, as we let you go here on Southern Fried Sports, I got to ask you about another DJ. This one was a part of the show. DJ Law, the running back, did not graduate in December, best I recall. Did he come back? That was the question for me coming out of the docuseries. Would DJ Law come back, finish up, and then go on to a 4-year school? Did it play out that way?
He did come back. He came back, and he worked really hard, and he is finishing up this summer. He is in 1 class currently still, and my fingers are crossed for him. He's worked really hard this summer, and fingers are crossed that he finishes up this class in the next couple of weeks and reports to UAB. Can't miss 5 or you get cut, right? That's right. That's right. See, I watched. I did my homework. Well, Brittany, can't thank you enough for taking the time again. Really love the show. Really appreciate what you're doing and helping young people better themselves, not only in academics and in college, but the life skills that you're introducing to these young people as depicted in the docuseries. Just phenomenal stuff, and look forward to big things for Brittany Wagner down the road. And again, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. Thank you. Thank you all for having me on.